Hey guys, it's JH and welcome back to the practice tee. Wow, I haven't been here for 8 months, guys. 8 months. Life invariably throws up some obstacles from time to time, and I've had a few which necessitated that all my efforts and interests had to go into those obstacles. Anyway, guys, I'm back and thinking at home about being away for 8 months. I thought, JH, what are you going to do when you come back? How are you going to swing to not hitting any balls for 8 months? And I thought, well, what I have to do is probably resurrect a golf swing that I've talked about over the years on my channel, because there's probably 200 different golf swings on there, and one that was very easy to replicate and easy to use on a day-to-day basis, didn't require a lot of coordination or rethinking the golf swing. And I came up and I went back and looked through all my videos, guys, and the one I came up with was one I did 7 years ago, and it was called the short controlled acceleration swing. And when I looked at that, I hit the ball fantastic back then, absolutely unbelievable. And you would say, well, JH, why didn't you keep on with that? Because, guys, my channel is about golf swings per se, all types of golf swings and all the information, accoutrements that go with all those golf swings. So I couldn't have a channel that just revolved around one golf swing. So I've always been in this mode of looking at different golf swings and trying to bring them to my channel and give people options of golf swings to use. Anyway, when I went back and looked at a lot of the golf swings, I thought, well, the short controlled acceleration swing was fantastic. It looked great 7 years ago. Okay, I'm 7 years older than I was back then, but I'm still reasonably fit for 80 plus, and I've still got quite good strength and speed. So, but what the short controlled acceleration swing revolved around, guys, was that it was short, and being short, it was controlled. And in addition to that, it was very natural in terms of a process that we human species are comfortable with and that we use from day to day in all types of activities like throwing and kicking and whatever. Whenever we're moving the limbs, invariably they're always used fairly aggressively and fairly quickly most of the time. I mean, if you're going to kick a ball, you're not going to kick with a slow leg. If you're going to throw a ball, you're not going to throw it with a slow arm, unless you're throwing a slow ball. So what I thought was I'll reconstitute that golf swing because it was easy to apply and easy to replicate swing to swing. Now, what was it, guys? Well, it was exactly what the name implies. It was a short, controlled acceleration golf swing. And by acceleration, I mean it was accelerated in the backswing, really quick off in the backswing, and by doing that, I got an automatic, reflexive, reactive action in the downswing. So it was quick back and automatically quick coming down. But because it was quick and it was short, because the club didn't get any higher than this and my arms didn't get any higher than this, I could go after that ball as hard as I like with my hands and the club head from here. Very hard to muck a golf swing up or create issues with a golf swing when it's coming from here. From up here you can do all sorts of things, but from here, when you're here and when you're in here, very hard to get over the shot and very, very difficult to just mess the golf swing up. So the basic tenets of the golf swing were this, guys. I basically just set up, and I was very, very stable, incredibly stable at address. I felt like I was just riveted into the ground. Didn't want my head to move 1 inch to the right in the backswing. Just wanted to be really, really structured and stabilised. So I'm in here. So to the extent that I wanted to stay here so much that I felt that there was a little bit of weight predominantly on the lead side, but that's only because I'm normally, have a predominance of weight in the trail side to get into the backswing, because I wanted normally a bigger range of motion golf swing. So the main structure, the base tenet is that I'm here. You couldn't push me over. I'm just here. I could push you over. You couldn't push me over. And I want to stay there. And all the backswing, I want only the backswing to compromise of just one thing, and that is I'm just going to fire the club back as fast as I can and not look for any distance or range of motion in the backswing. I'm just basically going to do that. That's all I'm going to do. And if you go back and look at that, dig up on my channel, a short controlled acceleration swing, you'll see that I did that. And I swung the club fantastically in that video. Okay, self-praise is no recommendation, JH, but I did. I was very happy with the way I hit it. So today, not having hit any balls for 8 months, I thought, well, I don't want to come out and do a video and hit the ball sideways. There's a few cows in the paddock over here, so I don't want to injure any of the livestock. And I thought the swing was so good when I revisited that I thought it's worthwhile doing a video for people to maybe themselves go down this road of the short controlled acceleration swing. And what is it? Well, it's basically this, guys. I get in here, I stabilise, don't want my head to go to the right. And the pivot that I had in that swing, guys, was not, well, the body action was not this type of body action. It wasn't shoulders going that way. The shoulders were not going that way. The lead shoulder wasn't going down. The trail shoulder wasn't going up. The lead shoulder was going that way. The lead shoulder was doing that, and the trail shoulder was staying down, which meant the club came very much inside and level. There was no up and down in the golf swing. It was basically a level turn, guys. You watch my shoulders. To get a perfectly level turn in a golf swing, your hips should turn on the same plane that your shoulders turn. Now, if I'm going to make a perfect turn to the right here, and I'm standing perfectly upright and perpendicular, watch what happens. That shoulder doesn't pitch down, it just goes across there. And watch what happens to my right shoulder. Left shoulder goes out, right shoulder stays down and back. It doesn't do that. Doesn't do that at all. And I think Hogan did that. There's a picture of Hogan that I have somewhere, I can't find it, but it was about 1945. And at the top of the swing with the driver, guys, his lead shoulder was higher than his trail shoulder. He was there. That's where he was. Now that's about as level a turn as you can make. And if you look at Hogan, Hogan stood fairly upright. Hogan looked like this. Hogan wasn't like that. He didn't have a lot of back angle. He was very much into his buttocks, and he was here. He took the club back like that. So in conjunction with the short duration, range of motion backswing, I'm going to make my pivot, because I remember back in that era, that 7 years ago, that my pivot was going that way, or my shoulder girdle was moving that way. It wasn't moving this way. And guys, when I do this, when I turn like that, that is smooth. It feels like I've got grease nipples in my pelvis joints and hip joints. It's really easy. The shoulders coordinate with the pelvis. But when I pitch here, I feel a lock up in my lower back. And if you get older, you get more lock up. So the whole subject of this video is that we're going to have a pivot that's way more upright, more perpendicular, not have a lot of pitch and dive on it, and the backswing's really quick and forceful. And don't worry about the downswing. Just throw it back as fast as you can that way, and then just throw it back to the ball and release the golf club, guys. Release it. Get the club head moving. Don't bring it back like that. For rank and file players, they hang on to the club too much. Try and do that. Just get the golf club releasing. Get it moving. Now the other thing, guys, is what I do with my wrists. Normal golf swing, we cock the wrist. That's a cocking action. In the backswing, we cock the wrists up. I don't do that because that makes the club go up too much. What I did back then was I hinge my wrist. I turn my wrist that way instead of cocked it that way. Now when I do that, guys, look where the club goes. When I cock it, it stays low. It stays low. And not only that, the club face points at the golf ball. That's really the epitome of square to square. The club face looks at the golf ball. It just does that. So that's what I'm trying to do today. I'm trying to have my pivot to feel like this instead of that. And if you look, if I have a pivot that looks like that, if I turn around, watch what I look like. I look like Hogan. You look at Hogan from behind, Hogan looks like that. And a lot of people never really understood why he looked like that. That's because of his pivot. His pivot action, the plane of his pivot. If he took his shoulder down steeply in the backswing, he'd look like that. But he didn't. He took the shoulder out that way and he looked like that. So what we're trying to do is keep the shoulders as level as we possibly can. As a feeling, keep the lead shoulder up and the trail shoulder down. You won't achieve that probably, but think that you're going to do that. And really, it's basically this, guy. This is what I was doing 7 years ago on that short controlled acceleration swing. I get here really stabilised, and it was just take it back inside here, and then just release it as hard as I could. Just throw it back and release it as hard as I could. You have a look at that swing. It looks like that. I haven't hit a golf ball for 8 months, guys. Just did a little couple of days with Martin Ayres working on his golf swing, which I'll tell you about because I haven't finished that. And probably in the couple of sessions I had when they wouldn't have hit 30 golf balls. And that was, just haven't had a practice session at all. And haven't done any conventional stuff. So today, I'm just going to come back and try and apply that swing I had 7 years ago. The short controlled acceleration swing. And it's so simplistic, guys. What it does is it only gives you one thought process. It gives you a backswing thought process. It doesn't give you a backswing and a downswing thought process because it happens so quickly that you don't have time to do that. And the feeling is that it's all backswing and the downswing is just a result. Now the guy that does it fantastically well today is Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm's got exactly this golf swing. He just whips it inside, takes it back and straight back. Matthew Fitzpatrick, the British golfer, he's more upright swing plane, but he does exactly the same, just whips it back and everything else just follows. Haven't hit a golf ball for 8 months, guys, and I did this deliberately, so I thought I'd come out. So this could be, the cows could be in danger over there. So this will be interesting. I'm just trying to visualise what I used to do. So here we are. Just don't want to move my head at all. Just going to whip it around here. There, guys. First golf swing for 8 months. Cross my heart. And there's 2 posts up here about 12 metres apart on the boundary fence, and that's right in between those 2 posts. There you go, guys. Now, probably if you go and have a look at the short controlled acceleration swing, I probably had more mobility and a bigger range of motion because I'm 7 years younger back then. I actually impressed myself when I looked at that video. I thought, wow, that's a golf swing you should revisit, JH. But that's a perfect golf shot. Middle of the golf club, just flushed. Absolutely nutted. And you know what? I knew I'd do that. Because that swing is so simplistic. It doesn't have a lot of componentry in it that can get out of hand. The only thing I didn't apply on that I didn't have as much throwaway release. When I cock the wrist back here, when I hinge it back there, I want to unhinge it. I want to throw it away. I want to feel like that is happening. Like Freddie Couples and Vijay Singh. Here. That's what I want to feel like. Mike Austin. I didn't do that because I had quite a few things to think about. But guys, that's the first hit for 8 months. Absolutely 8 months. So here we go. So get stable, JH. Club's going to come this way. It's going to feel like it's just going in here and still looking at the ball. That's what I want to feel. Taking it back like that. A bit like a whip action or a fly fishing rod, but side on. That's what we're trying to do with the club head. Throw it back, and then it'll reconstitute itself forward from going backwards. That's a perfect golf shot. Wow. What does it feel like? It feels like the blade, that the golf blade is doing that. That's what it feels like. Because I'm hinging. If I just hinge, the club face will be looking at the ball. See that? If I cock my club, the club face is open 90 degrees to the ball. But if I just hinge it, club face... Now, in conventional terminology, everyone would say that club face is closed. The club face is not closed, it's square. It's exactly where it was at address. I haven't done anything. I haven't rolled it shut, and I haven't rolled it open. I've just kept it there. But I've just hinged my wrists. So it's dead square, it's not shut. And you look at Rahm. Rahm's like that. He's more of a hinger than he is a cocker. Now that's amazing. I really thought that I would have trouble coming out and emulating that golf swing from 7 years ago, particularly in not having hit any golf balls for 8 months. Or not swung a golf club. Well, that's not quite true. I went down in the garage yesterday and had about 20 practice swings with this action after I looked at that video, and I thought, wow, that feels good. Couldn't hit any shots down in the garage in the basement, but that's what I felt like, and I just had the feeling. And that's all I've done here. Okay, so we're going, and guys, how much inside does it feel? It feels like that. That's what it feels like. It feels like my hands are going to run into, the grip is going to run into my thigh. That's what it feels like. There's none of this. Because as soon as you go like that, with that extension, the shoulder wants to dip. If you go inside, the shoulder wants to go out there. It doesn't want to dip. If you just take it on a natural arc in there, shoulder wants to go there. If you take it there, it wants to dip down there. And my left leg locks up for some reason or other when I dip down on my hip joint. So the pivot is very level. The club goes on a very, very normal arc inside, but with the club face looking at the ball. And it looks at the ball because we hinge the wrists. We don't cock them, we hinge them. If I put it there, take it back, that's where the club is. If I cock my wrist, it's there. Cock it there, it's there. And it keeps the club on the plane line, guys. On the plane line, on the arm line. That's the good thing about it. So here we go, I'm going to be really steady. Pivot's going out there. There it goes. Second shot after 8 months. Now if you can hear that on the audio, but that was just absolutely smashed. Absolutely smashed. And that was long. And that's within those two boundary fence posts up there that are probably 11, 12 yards apart. And we've got a really strong headwind, crosswind. So what am I feeling? I'm feeling very stable. Feeling shoulder very level. Feeling club going in here. No pitch. No rolling of the club face. No opening of the club face. I feel like this. That's what I feel like. But down there. That's what I feel like. I feel like this. That's what I feel like. Here we go. Guys, that's as good a contact as I've ever made, ever. Ever, ever, ever. It really is extraordinarily good contact. And I didn't get this mowed here because I didn't know I was coming down to it. I didn't tell the guy, so the grass is 2 inches long. That's very spongy. But that was hammer time. Absolute hammer time. And I haven't hit the ball for so long that my grips are all, because they've been down in the garage, and the grips have gone all slick. So got a few issues to overcome. But that was fantastic. Those two balls, they're far apart. So I get really, I'm doing this, feeling this. That's what I'm feeling. Not this. Club goes as far in there as it can. And most conventional golf teachers or swing gurus will say, oh, you get stuck in there. Well, tell Hogan he was stuck, because that's exactly where Hogan was. He did pretty good being stuck. And I mean Ben Hogan, not Paul Hogan. It's funny, guys, because I haven't hit it, the feeling in the hands is just profoundly different. The golf club feels alien, feels like a rattlesnake. But those two shots there, wow. So I'm going to be here, club's going inside, just going to... Now that's a really short golf swing. Two reasons are short, because I haven't hit balls for a long time, and I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and I've been doing a lot of lats and rhomboid exercises, which are the worst thing in the world for a golf swing, but they do give you a lot of upper body strength. And I've been doing a lot of leg stuff too, pushing really big weights on the leg press. Because as you get older, the last thing you want is brittle bones, and if you fall over, there's a tendency to fall over. I'm not talking to you young guys, but as you get older, if your legs are not strong, and your body's not strong, and your bones are not strong, that you can fall over. And if you break a bone when you're old, like a pelvis or something, it's not good. Okay, I'm a lot fitter and a lot more mobile than most 80-plus-year-old people. But I still want to protect the integrity of my body. And I've got to say, when I look back at that video of 7 years ago, I was a physical unit back then. I was really strong and very fit. I'm not as fit. Well, I'm probably still probably close to as fit, but I haven't got the muscle tone that I had back then. But again, that's what happens. They say you lose 3 to 5% a year after muscle after 40 years old. So, well, based on that, I shouldn't have any at all. So here we are, guys. This is the pivot. See how quick I throw that back? Now, what swing thought have I got? One, throw the club back there as fast as I can and throw it in there. Just throw it in there. Just throw it in there. No other thought. None. And everything else happens as a result of that. That's as good as old JH can hit it. That's an action-reaction, guys. If you take it back that fast and you're stable here, then you'll just run out of range of motion and the club has to change direction. But a lot of people think, oh, I've got a backswing, I take it to here, got to get in this position, I've got to put it in this position and do that. The only thing I'm not doing, because I can only think of a few things, or a couple of things, I'm not releasing it as hard as I need to release it. So the impact will be the reverse of that. It'll be that. It'll be It'll be positioning here in the backswing, convening energy here, and then I'm going to throw that energy away. I'm just going to reverse that wrist hinge. I'm going to reverse it from there to there. Going to positive wrist hinge, negative wrist hinge. There it is, guys. What's that feel like? Feels like a throw. Just feels like I'm just doing that impact, that. It's not that, it's that. Because that's fast. You do that, that's fast. That's not fast. You get that fast. And I don't believe you can take it back too fast. I don't believe you can take it back too fast, providing you do it rhythmically. Like John Rahmer's got a very quick tempo, and so has Matthew Fitzpatrick. But they've got beautiful tempo. Beautiful tempo. Beautiful tempo. Yeah, you don't want to have a rapid backswing and a really ragged tempo. Or rhythm. The tempo is up, but you've got to have good rhythm. Even though you've got a fast tempo, the rhythm, a bit like Tom Watson. Tom Watson had a fast swing, but beautiful rhythm. Lee Trevino, exactly the same. Mo Norman, really quick backswing, beautiful tempo, beautiful rhythm. All right. That's as good as I can hit it. That's as good as I can hit it. I don't know where the club's going. I know it's not long, but it's a 7-iron. That's normal 7-iron distance for me. Absolutely, because I know I've hit, 100,000 balls here. I know exactly where a 7-iron goes up there in these conditions, and that's right on the number. Actually, the last one was a bit longer. And they're all out of the middle of the club, guys. What do I feel like? What's it feel like? It feels like this. That's what it feels like. It feels like Hogan's backswing pivot looks like. That's what it looks like. Now, Snead had the same sort of pivot, but he was a bit more inclined in his shoulder angle. He had more pitch angle on his shoulder. But if you look at Snead from behind, Snead looks like that too. It's exactly what it looks like. As a matter of fact, 90% of all players in the 40s, 50s and 60s look like that, because that's what a proper pivot was. Henry Cotton looked like they all look like that. A great Australian player, Norman von Nyder, it's exactly what his pivot looked like. All right, it's amazing, guys. I haven't mishit one. Shoulder goes out. Fantastic. Now, what do I have to add to that? Because I've got that feeling of the pivot and the quick throwback, I've got to be able to incorporate at address before I do all that I want to get the throwaway release on the, and it's not a throw, have a look at Freddie Couples and Vijay Singh, they're like this through the ball. Both really long hitters. Matter of fact, and both of them, their right hands are off the club through the ball. They look like that. You look at them down the line, they look like that. Because they've thrown that right hand or the trail hand so hard. Okay, nice rhythm and get the throw. Stay in there, shoulder out. Oh, that's it, guys. Wow. Wow. And I don't care if the club's going here, because I'm still getting the distance. John Rahm doesn't want to swing like Adam Scott, but he hits it further than Adam Scott. The club doesn't come any further than this. This is John Rahm at the top of the backswing there. Still hits a 340, 350. So I had an 8 iron in a tournament recently where had an 8 iron and hit a 217, 8 iron.